Hi, Heather.
How are you today?
Good. How you doing?
Pretty good. How's our rattlesnake dam treating you these days?
It's good. You know, the intake dam is being restored and growing. I bike by it every now and then. Still looks like a bomb went off, kind of, but
I'm not surprised.
yeah.
Good morning, colleagues.
Oh, they're all trickling in.
And Mirta, I'm gonna speak for Logan on Logan's behalf for the construction services agreements.
Sounds good. Thanks, Ross.
Mm-hmm.
Ashley, looks like we're good to go.
Yep, we're ready on my end.
Great, thank you. So good morning, everyone. I'm going to call the Public Works Committee to order. And first things first, if we could put up the information, Ashley, for how to participate. Thank you. And we continue to meet via Zoom. And if there are several ways to participate, if you are joining us via Zoom and would like to provide public comment, please let us know by using the raise and lower hand feature, and we'll let you in so you can provide public comments. If you are joining us by phone, you can raise and lower your hand by pressing *9 and *6 to mute and unmute yourself. You can call City Council and leave a voice message with your comments or concerns. You can call 406-552-6012. You can email us at council@ci.missoula.mt.us. And these meetings are recorded and can be accessed via YouTube and MCAT. With that, if we could get a roll call, please, Ashley, for attendance.
Anderson,
Present.
Becerra,
Present.
Contos, Harp,
Present.
Hess, Jones,
Present.
Merritt, Ramos, Cheryl,
Present.
Vasika, Von Lossberg,
Here.
West.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ashley. Let's see. We have minutes from June 30th to approve. Are there any changes to the minutes? Okay, seeing none, those who stand approved. Is there any public comment on items not on the agenda. I see Kevin is on the, maybe we can promote him to join the meeting, please. Okay, so seeing no comment, no public to provide comment, let's move to our first item on the agenda. And that is, we have two appointments actually. The first one is an appointment to the Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Board. That's a mayoral appointment. And that is for, sorry, I'm juggling all my screens here. That is for Corey Simonson. And that appointment begins immediately and it expires in September 30th, 2024. That is an appointment for the Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Board. So if we could get a motion to confirm Mr. Simonson to that board, that would be great. Amber, Cheryl.
I'm happy to make that motion, and I am also thankful that we have citizens willing to help in this capacity.
Great, thank you. We have a motion on the floor and we don't have any public to provide public comments. And I too want to thank Mr. Simonson for serving on this board. It's incredibly important to ensure that all our facilities and bike ped facilities provide the service that's needed in the community. So very appreciative of your time. So with that, if we could get a roll call vote, please, Ashley.
Anderson,
Yes.
Becerra,
Yes.
Harp,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Merritt,
Yes.
Cheryl,
Yes.
Von Lossberg,
Yes.
West.
Yes.
That's 8 yeses and 0 nos.
Great, thank you. And that will be on our consent agenda. Next, we have another mayoral appointment, and that is actually reappointments to the Building Code Board of Appeals. We have Anthony Tony Moretti as architect and David Gray as architect at large. Their terms would begin July 1st, 2021. Actually, that already started and it expires on June 30th of 2024. I see Gwen, go ahead.
Thank you. Yes, I'm happy to make the recommended motion. I'm acquainted with both of these gentlemen and they're both very community oriented and service minded, and I appreciate their service and I'm happy to nominate them.
Great, thank you so much. We have a motion on the floor. I don't see public to provide comment on this item. And I too want to thank both these citizens for bringing their expertise to this board. Incredibly important and appreciated. So with that, if we could get a roll call vote, please, Ashley.
Anderson,
Yes.
Becerra,
Yes.
Harp,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Merritt,
Yes.
Cheryl,
Yes.
Von Lossberg,
Yes.
West.
Yes.
That is 8 yeses and 0 nos.
Thank you. So that too will go on our consent. And next, we have the Mullen Build Right-of-Way Agreement Part 2. And Jeremy Keene is here to present. Go ahead, Jeremy.
Hi, everybody. Jeremy Keene, Director for Public Works Mobility. I have a couple more right-of-way agreements for the Mullen Build project. This is similar to the agreements you've seen before in terms of we're just formalizing the right-of-ways necessary to build the project. One of these is an agreement you previously approved, but we had to go back and make an edit to the agreement. We had a mistake in there that we needed to go back and fix. So we're bringing that agreement back, corrected, and re-signed by the property owner. So there's two agreements. Two agreements we're requesting council to approve and authorize the mayor to sign. One is for Shannon Lukert and the other is for Tollefson Enterprises. And I'll just quickly highlight what's contained in those. This is the Lukert property. This is the north end of Mary Jane Boulevard. So this is England shown here to the south, Mary Jane coming up to Broadway. So this is a large undeveloped property. The Mary Jane will go through that property and the property owner has future development plans, but nothing specific at this point. So we're formalizing the right of way and responsibilities around how that will get built out. This is the one that you previously approved. We had to go back and clarify one section of the agreement, which was just the timing on the primary improvements being the street itself, curb and gutter, storm drainage, utilities, and then what we've called secondary improvements, which are the sidewalks and bike facilities. And all we're doing here is in an effort to save cost up front, we're deferring the work on sidewalks and bikeways and other amenities that would go in when the development is completed. So rather than having sidewalks and street trees and things like that out there before there's any houses or businesses there to take care of those things, we're going to wait until the development actually occurs, and then those pieces of the project would go in. So we just had to clarify that in the agreement so that we're all on the same page with the landowner that we'll build the street and then at a later date come back and build the sidewalks. So there's two things we're getting here. One is that we're getting an 80-foot right of way with an additional 5 feet of easement on each side. So 90 feet total. That's our standard for a collector street. And then we are also acquiring a 10-foot temporary construction easement on each side that will just allow us to do the work and restore the property outside of our right of way. So that is the first agreement. And if you'd like, I can go ahead and explain the second one before you vote on them.
Go ahead, yeah.
Okay. The second agreement is with Tollefson Enterprises. This is the McNett Flats subdivision. This is George Elmer Boulevard going up from Mullen, and the property is right here shown in green. So the new George Elmer Drive will split that property. It's very similar. We're getting 80 feet of right of way with 5 feet of easement on each side, so 90 feet in total, and that temporary construction easement on each side. This agreement is similar in terms of what it outlines in terms of donating the right of way in exchange for the improvements. Specifies that those same primary improvements of the street improvements and then secondary improvements, sidewalk and bike facilities to happen at a later date as development occurs. One difference in this agreement is that we've incorporated all of the subdivision conditions. So all the things that they were conditioned to do with the subdivision, like the RRFB crossing, some storm drainage improvements, things like that were specific to their subdivision. We've continued to make those a developer requirement. They will do those. And then they are also going to go ahead and install all of their utilities. So the public utilities that will go in George Elmer, because of the timing of our project, since the project was delayed till next spring, the developer is going to go ahead and build those utility mains. So water, sewer, and storm drain mains will go in this year at the developer's cost, and then we will come in and complete the street next year. So any questions on either of those agreements?
I don't think I see any. Heather.
Thanks, Martha. Jeremy, the timing that you're referring to, does that mix things up from what it was originally planned, or are we just extending the timeline?
We modified the agreement to reflect the new timeline on the project. Because they are actually looking to break ground on their buildings this year, they need those utilities sooner than what we could deliver on the build project. And so we modified the agreement to allow them to go ahead and install those utilities on their own, and then we would complete the street. So yeah, it's a little bit different than what some of these other agreements say.
And then a follow-up. So was part of the original agreement that these property owners were also going to be paying for those utilities, so it doesn't change it, or is that a change in some capacity?
Yeah, so all of these agreements specify that the developers will pay for utility main extensions. That's the normal business. And the way we're going to do that is through a special utility development fee, which is something we still will bring to council for some of these other parcels. In this case, they won't pay that special development fee. They'll just pay directly to install those utilities. And then our utilities will pay for upsize costs. So these lines are being sized larger to provide capacity for other parcels, and we'll use our utility development fees to upsize those lines to larger sizes.
Sounds like you're thinking ahead. Martha, if you don't have any other folks in the queue, I'm happy to make the recommended motions. Both.
Thank you, Heather. And I agree, this is incredibly important, an essential step to making sure that the Mullen build infrastructure project takes place. So happy to support this motion as well. We have a motion on the floor. No public to provide comment. So with that, we'll take a roll call vote, please.
Anderson,
Yes.
Becerra,
Yes.
Harp,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Merritt,
Yes.
Cheryl,
Yes.
Von Lossberg,
Yes.
West.
Yes.
That's 8 yeses and 0 nos.
Great. So those two motions have been approved, and they'll be on the consent agenda. Thank you, Jeremy. Okay, so next we have a construction services agreement with Western Excavating, Knife River, and Paulson Electric for emergency repair services, and Ross is here to present.
Thanks, Mirta. Yeah, my name is Ross Mullenhauer. I'm the city engineering manager. I'm filling in for Logan McGinnis today on this one. I'm here to ask the council to approve and authorize the mayor to sign a construction services agreement with 3 companies: Western Excavating, Knife River, and Paulson Electric. And all 3 of these are related. We do this every year, and this is related to emergency services we might need these contractors to do for Missoula Water. The first 2, Western Excavating and Knife River, are leak contractors. So if we have an emergency leak in the middle of the night, we would call one of these companies, and they have staff that are familiar with our system and are very proficient at working with our crews to address these leaks. Same thing with Paulson Electric. They are the company that services Missoula Water's pumps and motors and booster stations and wells houses. So they know our well houses and motors, and if we have a problem with a motor that needs to be addressed right away, we like to be able to call them. So this is something that I think has been around since 2018. We have signed sole source agreements with these companies. Sorry, sole source authorization, I should say. It's not an agreement. It's just an authorization that we we have the justification to use these companies up to $25,000, but we like to bring it to council every year and get it re-signed every year. So I'm happy to answer questions if anyone has anything specific.
Thank you, Ross. I see Julie and then Heather.
And this is being paid out of the Water Enterprise Fund.
Correct. Thank you, Julie.
Thanks. I'd be happy to make the recommended motion. I'm going to continue to channel Dennis for you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Julie. Okay, we have a motion on the floor. Heather, go ahead.
My question is, are these three firms that you're recommending for us to contract with this year, have they been reliable in the past years? Have we been using them for some time, or is this a new slate of candidates brought forward?
It's the same contractors that we've been using in the past, and they are reliable, and we haven't had any issues with any of them. They're
Okay,
very familiar with the system and with our crews.
great. Thank you. I'll be supporting the motion.
Great. Thank you. So we have a motion on the floor, no public in attendance to provide comment on this. So let's go ahead and take a roll call vote, please, Ashley.
Anderson,
Yes.
Becerra,
Yes.
Harp,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Merritt,
Yes.
Cheryl,
Yes.
Von Lossberg,
Yes.
West.
Yes.
That is 8 yeses and 0 nos.
Great. Thank you. And that too will be on our consent agenda. Next, we have a professional services agreement with IMEG for Eaton Street infrastructure. No, we don't. We have a bid award for Mount Avenue and South 14th Street water main. And Russ, take it away.
Thanks, Marta. Yeah, so I'm here also to request the council award the bid for construction on the Mount Avenue and South 14th Street West water main replacement project to Prospect Construction. This is a water main replacement project similar to what you've seen in the past. I can kind of give you an overview. I think let me see if I can share my screen really quick. There's also exhibits. Share screen. There's kind of two sections of Mount that this project is going to address. If you can see my screen right now, this is Brooks Street and Mount. And so basically this reddish section of water main right here is 100-year-old and invasion steel pipe that we're looking to replace. And we've kind of brought this project to the top of our priority list because of the paving work that Brian Hensel's street crews are looking to do in this section. So after he's heard complaints about the condition of pavement in Mount Avenue, and so we're trying to get rid of this old water main here before he does any of that paving work. So actually, we're going to be working. I think his crews are going to come along after our contractor and pave this section of Mount here. So we've also been working with NDT and addressing some of the concerns here in this intersection. I think the pavement's actually pretty good in this intersection. It's mainly kind of this area of Mount. The pavement's not so good. And then the other portion of our project, the 14th, is where 14th crosses underneath the railroad tracks. We've had a leak that developed here quite some time ago underneath the tracks, and rather than deal with it at the time, I'm not actually sure how long. It's been probably at least 4 or 5 years. I think that's been there. Rather than deal with it, they just took these valves and closed off the main, so the leak went away. But we lost the transmission here, and so it would improve water pressure in the neighborhood and and give us more robustness to our distribution system if we can get this opened up again. We do have other crossings under the railroad tracks, but this would be a good one to get back. So rather than deal with the leak underneath there, we're just gonna, the project would be to bore this section of main, bore a new main here and tie in underneath the railroad tracks. So you won't see very much paving going on over here. There might be small pavement improvements to where they dig the pits on either side, but that's about it. We only had one bidder on this project. It was Prospect Construction, and we don't like to bid projects this time of year. We realize the contractors are pretty busy, but we were kind of forced to because of our SRF application. We're looking to fund this through the state revolving fund. And so that timing kind of took a little longer than normal, and we ended up bidding this a little later than we would have liked to. And so we only got one contractor, Prospect Construction, to bid on it, but we feel like with the paving work that the street crews want to do, we want to get, this is the one project that we really would like to see get done this year. Some of the other projects that we had in our queue, we're kind of pushing back, and we're hoping to get better pricing on by rebidding them in the winter. So that's my spiel. Again, I'm happy to answer anyone's questions.
Thank you, Ross. And the funding for this is coming out of?
Coming from the Water Enterprise Fund. Thank you. Thank you. Gosh, I hope Dennis doesn't watch this.
Okay. Let's see. Julie and then Heather.
These are both projects that are much needed. I know both of those spots are problematic, so I'm glad that we can continue to coordinate projects with the street crews and save ourselves some money doing that. So I'm happy to make the recommended motion.
Great, thank you, Julie. We have a motion on the floor. Go ahead, Heather.
Yes, I'm also familiar with these two sections, and very delighted to see that we're moving ahead, but more importantly, working in collaboration with across our utilities. Something that I think we always hearten because once upon a time that was very difficult, and today is a much easier process. Ross, my question is, with the bid that came from Prospect, how close was it to your engineer's estimate?
It was, I'm going to say 25% higher than our engineer's estimate. And we've definitely seen prices going up higher than we would have liked to see. I think that's just probably across the board. Material scarcity and contractor availabilities aren't helping our projects right now. So yeah, I think that's why we feel it's prudent to wait and try to rebid things in the winter. We've talked to other contractors like Western and Knife River, and they're just so busy with work right now that they're not bidding it for those reasons. And they think that if we rebid things in the fall or winter, that they might have more availability to look at it.
Are you anticipating any other projects between now and the usual fall and winter bid allocation times or bidding process times?
No, I don't think we are. We bid several other projects, and like Lincoln Hills tank and the Main Street water main replacement project. We bid those, and they came back so high that we chose not to award them at this time.
Okay, thanks for the background. I'll be supporting the motion.
Great. We have a motion on the floor, no public to provide comment. So with that, let's take a roll call vote, please, Ash.
Anderson,
Yes.
Becerra,
Yes.
Harp,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Merritt,
Yes.
Cheryl,
Yes.
Von Lossberg,
Yes.
West.
Yes.
That is 8 yeses and 0 nos.
Great.
Thanks, everyone.
That too will go on our consent agenda. Thank you, Russ. And now we have a professional agreement with IMEG for Eaton Street Infrastructure Project, and Mark Todorovich will be presenting.
Thank you, Mirtha. I'm sharing my screen right now.
Okay.
Did it come up?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay.
Yep, we see it.
Okay, thank you. Mark Todorovich, Construction Project Coordinator, Public Works and Mobility, Surface Transportation Engineering. This is consideration for a professional services agreement with IMEG Corp. For the Eaton Street, South Avenue to South 7th Street West project. To give you some background, Eaton Street is classified as a collector. Also, East Eaton is a transit street with several bus stops along this project. This Eaton Street project ranks 8th out of 90 CIP projects. Eaton has high traffic volumes and its crash history includes serious injuries. This project has been included in the past 2 CIP budgets as roadway improvement project. This project will be constructed in 2 phases. The first phase is located on Eaton Street from 7th Street West to 14th Street, north of the intersection. And the second phase is from 14th Street intersection to Sussex Street. The property will include constructing curb and sidewalk where none exists. Phase 1, constructing bulb outs at 10th and 12th Street, here and here. Constructing 1 sidewalk bridge at the east side of Eaton Street at Spurgeon Road, here. Construction culvert extensions at the irrigation ditch crossings, here, here. Mountain Line is consolidating bus stops on Eaton Street. The new stop location is at 12th, right here. Phase 2, constructing bulb outs at Burlington and Central intersection in phase 2. So Burlington here and Central here. Also, we are contemplating an urban mini roundabout at 14th and Eaton here. The new Mountain Line bus stop locations is at Burlington here, right here. The schedule, the phase 1 schedule. Phase 1 design work will be completed this fall and we will bid the project in the winter. Phase 1 construction will take place in the spring of 2022. Construction for phase 2 will take place in 2023. The funding for the $92,965,000 contract is transportation impact fees. This contract is for 30% conceptual design for phase 1 and 2 and 100% design on phase 1. This contract amount does not include staking on phase 1 and 2 or final design for phase 2. We will bring future amendments to the Public Works Committee for staking on phase 1 and 2 and final design for phase 2. Total project estimate will be 30% contingency for phase 1 is $746,000 and phase 2 is $780,000. The selection process through the Public Works and Mobility SOQ from a couple months ago, we selected 5 consultant firms to complete transportation projects. IMEG was one of the 5 firms. We selected IMEG from this list because their previous work on the city project in this area. City plans to use Public Works and Mobility staff to manage the contractor and inspect construction work. I ask that you approve the recommended motion. I'll be happy to take any questions you might have.
Thank you, Mark. Julie, go ahead.
Thanks. I'm so excited to see this work moving forward. Eaton Street has long been designated as a safe route to school for the Franklin to the Fort school children, and there are no sidewalks to walk on for that safe route to school. So this is something that's really needed in this neighborhood, and I'm just pleased as punch to see this moving forward. I do have one question mark, and that is in regards to the property in front of the Catholic Church. We had approved some months ago a development on part of the church property, and my recollection, though that could be flawed, was that that development was going to pay for some sidewalk on the church property frontage. Is that still part of the plan?
I have not heard that. I'll have to look into that, but
Okay.
presently, it's part of this project.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I'm not sure if the developer is moving forward on that church property or not. It's been a long time. So I am happy to make the recommended motion.
Thank you, Julie. I see that Monty's here. Monty, do you know?
Yeah, Monty Sipe, Construction Project Manager with Public Works and Mobility Surface Transportation. Likely was conditioned to install curb and sidewalk along that frontage where that development is occurring. We haven't solidified all the funding on this project. We have applied for a TA grant for the Eaton Street project. We won't hear the decision on that or whether we get that funding or not until October. The way our program works with the assessments and the city cost share or the financial assistance is that's road district funding. So you have to pay into the road district fund to receive that financial benefit. So the church property is exempt and is not eligible for that. So they would be either with the development or through this project assessed 100% for that frontage, unless we receive grant funding that may offset some of that assessment.
Thanks, Monty. That makes sense.
We have a motion on the floor. Still no public to provide comment on this item. So with that, I'd just like to add that I think one added benefit to all of this, I'm not sure if Mark mentioned it, is that our sidewalks can be made ADA compliant. That's a huge aspect of increasing mobility in this neighborhood. So happy to see that happen. Okay, with that, we'll take a roll call vote, please.
Anderson,
Yes.
Becerra,
Yes.
Harp,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Merritt,
Yes.
Cheryl,
Yes.
Von Mossberg,
Yes.
West.
Yes.
That is 8 yeses and 0 nos.
Great, so that is approved. It'll go on our consent agenda. And Mark, thank you so much for the presentation.
Thank you.
And that was our last item on the agenda for today. So with that, thank you all for participating, and we will be adjourned. Thank you, Ashley.
Thank you.
Yeah, so this, that brings up a question. That was a good question.
Yeah.
From Julie, is it Julie or someone? But,